Back in 2019, I'd made this drawing, and it's been several years since then, so I wanted to try drawing it again. I started out in Procreate to get the line art and the sketch done, and setting up where everything's gonna go. I wanted to change some things about the original drawing, just so it wasn't a one-to-one like recreation of it, plus I had other ideas. I futzed around with like the spill cipher for a little while, trying to decide if I want to add it next to the maple ball, give it its own section, but I decided it's a bit too cluttered, so I ended up removing it in the end. I really like to draw backgrounds, and I want to do more of it. I tend to just draw people just floating in gray space, because I find it easier, so this was a bit of a challenge. I'm just trying to line out where everything's gonna go. But one thing about Procreate is that you get a layer limit depending on what size your canvas is, and this canvas in the end ended up being really large, so I ended up having to switch to a different program for coloring. But here I am laying out the people, trying to make sure that they look natural in the setting enough, futzing around with it. In the original drawing I'd made that Bill Cipher statue just like straight, but I wanted to try to make it more dynamic in this one, seeing as that's how it looks in the actual show. Line art is actually one of my favorite parts of drawing. I really like lining things. I think my least favorite part is actually rendering. I love these long drawings. They're very fun to draw, they're just time consuming. This drawing in particular probably took me over a month to make. I want to make more for other cartoons, but again, with having to switch between Procreate and FireAlpaca, and I haven't used FireAlpaca in a while, it was a bit of a challenge. But I really want to make one for like Amphibia. And then here I realized I forgot to actually detail the people before I started lining, so I have to do that. With my art style, old men just don't look right when they're trying to be serious, because I have a very like soft style, I would say. So trying to get them in here is a bit of a challenge. I thought it'd be cool to give Wendy a crossbow, but as the drawing progressed, it ends up getting covered by Dipper, and also it just is hard to draw a crossbow. So I end up cutting it later on, whenever we get to coloring. Here for the maple ball, I try a couple of chains, and in the end, I end up just making a chain brush. It didn't work super great, but I wasn't enjoying how the chains were looking, so I made a brush. In the original drawing, I individually drew each and every chain. So, FireAlpaca has a time-lapse feature, and I didn't think to check the quality of the time-lapses, and it's not great, as you can tell. I tried to increase the quality of the time-lapses, but it just didn't work. So, I apologize for the quality dipping. Also, I just occasionally forget to start recording the time-lapses, so if something just like pops in, it's because I just forgot to record. Here's Wendy's axe being put in instead of the crossbow. I don't really have much to say about the rendering of these people, so I'm just gonna let it play. With the maple ball, I had a struggle. It was a struggle trying to get this to look right, as you can tell, but I do get there eventually. It's just the pattern on the ball is very crackly. And then I tried to use the circle fill tool, and it didn't work. So I had to fix that. I'm just adding highlights to the chains, making sure everything looks right. With this bottom part, I ended up changing the colors a lot, just because I couldn't figure out what color palette would look the best. Here I'm testing color palettes, trying to see if any of them look decent before going back and filling in the render for the background. Again, I apologize, the quality isn't the best. Next time I do this, I'll probably use like OBS to record it, now that I can. Knowing myself, I'll probably still run into the issue of forgetting to record, but yeah, you know, it's fine. Now we move on to the sky. I think the sky ends up being my favorite part. All of the colors and everything just go well together, and the way that the clouds end up coming together just looks incredible. And it all blends well together. Back down here, trying to get all the colors in. And this doesn't even end up being the final color palette. I think I ended up changing it later, just because I didn't like the pink grass. I also render these trees a lot, because, god, trees are just hard to render. Trees are just hard to render. Just adding in more minor details, because I realized I forgot to add, like, any foliage to the ground, which definitely was needed. Not that you can really see it. Now I'm just finishing up all the last minute details, trying to finish up rendering these trees and the foliage and everything. I ended up redoing those trees because I really hated how they looked. I'm still not completely happy with how they turned out, but again, trees are hard to draw. And then just some last minute color adjustments. And here we have the final piece. I really like how it came out. I'm really happy with it. I finished this back in 2024, but I just didn't do anything with any of the footage. Now that it's been over a year later, I finally decided to actually put this video together, which is also why I didn't realize the quality was bad. But thank you so much for watching if you've made it to the end. I want to post more videos, I just keep forgetting to make anything, but I might post more time lapses or something in the future. Hopefully it doesn't take me a whole another year to actually make a video, but if you enjoyed this, let me know, and thank you so much for watching.